Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hope so. You all are fine. I am Dr. Ifra. I am a pharmacist, and today I will teach you the topic acid, bases, and salts. Welcome to another lecture of chemistry. Today we are going to study one of the most important chapters for O levels and IGCSE. This chapter appears frequently in examinations and so many questions, short questions, long questions, and some MCQs, true false, mostly come from this topic. By the end of this lecture, that I will tell you one by one each and everything. By the end of this lecture, you will understand that what are acids, what are the bases, and what are the salts, what are the alkalies, what are the difference between all of these acid, bases, and salts and alkalis, and moreover you will came to know that what is the pH scale, what are the difference between strong acids and the weak acids, and most of the chemical reactions that occur. So now let's begin our topic. We will start our topic with the uh, chemistry subject, and our first of all the topic is that what is an acid. Okay, what is an acid? An acid is a substance that releases hydrogen ion when it what is an acid? An acid is a substance that releases hydrogen ions when it is dissolved in water. Why we have selected water in its definition? Why not other substance? Because water is a यूनिवर्सल सॉल्वेंट वाटर जो है एक यूनिवर्सल सॉल्वेंट है and it has a pH of 7 means it is neutral. So all the chemical reactions mostly which are studied there they will occur in water because it is a universal solvent. So a normal hydrogen atom has only one proton and one electron. Why, when it loses one electron, the nucleus remains same. This positively charged particle is called the hydrogen ion. Let me tell you that why and how this hydrogen ion is formed, and why the charge 1 is present on this hydrogen atom. You know, this is the nucleus, and these are the shells in which electrons are revolved. In case of hydrogen atom surrounded by the shell, it has only one electron which is revolving around the shell. So this hydrogen atom may be loosed or it may gain the electron. When an acid is formed, it lost its only one electron. Lost one electron and a acid is formed. So whenever any substance which reacts with water and loses one electron, mostly that will produce an acid, and that carries the hydrogen charge, that is +1. We do not write +1 because that is neutral. So from this definition you would understand that what is hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom is formed whenever hydrogen atom loses its only one electron, it produces hydrogen atom. But hydrogen is not universally stable. It quickly shifts itself into hydronium ion. Hydronium ion is H3O. It has 3 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. Hydrogen ion usually attaches to the water molecules to form hydronium ion quickly, because hydrogen ion is not stable. It is not stable, so it quickly shifts itself into the hydronium ion, which is the most stable form of hydrogen atom. Now let's discuss some very important key points, that why we call acidic solution an acid. How do we came to know that this solution is a acid or a base? The acidity of a solution depend on its hydrogen ions. In more hydrogen ions, it would have lower pH, material will be more acidic. Whereas on other hand, if hydrogen ions are less, it has higher pH and the solution is less acidic. So we can say strength of an acid depend upon number of hydrogen atoms present in them. In simple terms, hydrogen ion is a positively charged hydrogen particle that play key role in acids and pH. Moving towards the third slide, let me tell you that more if the strength of hydrogen ion is increased, it has lower pH and solution will be more stronger acid. What is pH? pH is the power of hydrogen atom. It measures how many hydrogen ions are present in the solution. Water is used in pH scale because life exists in water, and hydrogen ions can be easily measured when substances are dissolved in water. The amount of hydrogen ions in water tells us whether a solution is acidic, neutral, or alkaline. Let me tell you in detail. pH scale measures the concentration of hydrogen ions in solution. Okay, a pH scale measures how many hydrogen ions are present in the solution. In simple words, it tells us that how acidic or basic solution is. Water is used because in most of the chemical reaction living organisms, most of the chemical reactions which occur in human body, they occur in presence of water. That's why most of the reactions take place in water as compared to other solvents. There are some very important points regarding pH as you have studied in your earlier classes. If pH is equals to 7, it will be neutral. pH greater than 7, it will be base or alkali. If pH is less than 7, then it will be acids. Now type of acids, in this slide which is shown, I will tell you that how many types of acids are present. There are two types of acids, strong acids and weak acids. What's the difference between strong acids and a weak acid? A strong acid is an acid that completely ionized in water, means it releases almost its all hydrogen ions. Whereas in case of weak acids are those acids that only partially ionize in its aqueous solution, and they are those solution which releases some of its hydrogen ions. Some ions are released, whereas in this case all of the hydrogen ions are released. So this is the basic difference between strong acid and weak acid. Always remember, strong acid means complete ionization, whereas weak acid means partial ionization. It is important to note that strong acids does not necessarily mean concentrated. Strengths depend upon ionization, not on the concentration. Okay, always remember this ionization plays important role in the concentrations of a solution. Okay, in this slide now you can see the chemical reactions of an acid, and this is known as the big three. This is very important rule. Acid reacts with number one. In this, when acid reacts with metal, it will produce salt and hydrogen gas. For example, let me tell you, for when hydrochloride plus magnesium, when they are reacted, salt, magnesium chloride is formed and hydrogen gas is released. Number two, acid reacts with base or alkalis and it produces salt and water. A neutralization reaction occurs. For example, if HCl reacts with a base or alkali, you know sodium hydroxide is both. It acts as a base, it also acts as an alkali. Why? We will study this in further. हम इसको आगे जाकर देखेंगे कि सोडियम क्लोराइड क्यों एक बेस है and why it is an alkali. When hydrochloride and sodium hydroxide both are reacted, it will produce sodium chloride plus water is produced. Sodium chloride. Sodium chloride, you know, this is a salt and H2 is the water. Number 3, when acid reacts with metal carbonate, it produces salt, water and carbon dioxide is released. Let me give you one example. When hydrochloride reacts with any carbonate, for example, we take calcium carbonate, it will produce calcium chloride, which is a salt, plus water is formed, and plus carbon dioxide gas is released. So they are the big three, they are the basics of an acid, that when acid reacts with metal, what it will do. When acid reacts with base and alkali, what happens, and when acid reacts with metal carbonate, what happens. I have shown you with an example that how salt, water and carbon dioxide is formed and which gases are released. Now we will discuss the most important topic. This is the most confused topic, and many students confuse because they don't understand that what actually a base is and what actually the alkali is. A base is a metal oxide or metal hydroxide that reacts with acid to produce salt and water only. What is base? Base is basically a metal oxide or a hydroxide, OH, or any metal oxide that reacts with acid to form salt and water. However, not all bases are dissolved in water. Almost many bases are partially or they are completely insoluble in water, whereas alkalis are mostly dissolved in water. This is a basic difference between base and alkali. Base is partially or completely insoluble, whereas alkali is completely soluble, and so we will say that alkali is a base that reacts with water to release hydroxide, or simple alkali is a soluble base. Alkali is such a material that it forms the soluble bases. And when it is reacted, it releases hydroxide ions are released. Every alkali is a base. Now you must know that all the alkalis are bases, whereas all the bases are not alkali. So um, let me give you an example. Sodium hydroxide NaOH, it is both base and alkali at the same time when it is dissolved in water, because it releases hydroxyl ions. So always remember, sodium hydroxide is both base and alkali. This now you can see that what is the basic concept of base and alkali. I will show the key point. This key point is very important because this key point helps you in your exams preparation. आपके एग्ज़ाम्स के अंदर इसमें से कोई भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है in the form of MCQs or true and false or short questions. So you must understand that what is basically base and alkali is. So the key point that you must understand is this: the difference between is the solubility in water. If the base dissolves in water and it produces hydroxide ions, we can tell that this is an alkali. If it does not dissolve, we will simply call as base. So let me tell you, if any base is dissolved in water, it will produce hydroxide ions. So this is an alkali. Whereas if base is dissolved in water, and we will simply the base is dissolved in water and it do not produce OH ion, so we will call it as a base. This is the key difference which occur due to the presence of water. So you must remember, when base is dissolved in water, it produces overchynes, so that is an alkali. And if it does not produce hydroxyl ion, that. Moving toward the next slide, what is salt? It's very easy. Salts क्या होते हैं? Salts are basically the ionic compound made up of positively and negatively charged ions, cations, and anions. They react and they produce the salt. The most common method of preparing salt is the neutralization reaction. Mostly salts are produced through neutralization reaction, and this is how they are produced. Acid and base react to produce salt and water. How charges are formed? When the salt is formed, the charges are formed by the removal or gaining of electrons, which results in the formation of salts. For example, hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, it will form sodium chloride in water. So that reaction is known as neutralization reaction. So today we learned about that what acids are, and we have came to know that what are the bases, what is the pH scale, and how the salts are formed. This on the screen you can see that this is the key difference between acid, bases, and salts: the taste, their touch, and their reaction. Acids are the substances that release hydrogen ion, or bases are the substances that releases hydroxyl ion, and ionic compounds they form salt by the reaction of positive and negative charge ions. If we talk about the pH level, less than 7 it is acid, greater than 7 it is base, and typically salts are mostly neutral. Talking about the taste, acids have sour taste, base have bitter, and salts are salty or sometimes metallic. Whenever we touch an acid, it feels like water. For example, vinegar is the most common example that is present in every kitchen. You see, it has appearance like water, whereas our soaps and face washes, they are all slippery and soapy in nature because they are made up of base. And salts, they may be in crystalline form or in powder form or in the most liquid form. Acid turn the litmus paper red, and the bases turn the litmus paper blue, whereas in case of neutral or in case of salts there is no change in the litmus paper. So if you find this lecture helpful, don't forget to like my video, subscribe my channel, and share it with your classmates. Thank you for watching your video, and I'll see you soon in my next chemistry class. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz.